Brayden, I'll let you start with your fifth favorite, man. We'll just kind of dive into it, man. What's your fifth favorite horror franchise? By the way, guys, a franchise is anything more than one movie. So it can be a trilogy, 2 movies. The franchise is a franchise, technically. So that's kind of what we're considering. Let's hear it.
I'm really battling my number 5 because I had quite a few. And, like, I really want to just say screw it and pull such a questionable, like, have you sitting here like, what the Brad?
I'm down. I'm down.
Terrifier franchise. Dude, Art the Clown, man. That is going to be the next big franchise. I love it. I think he is scarier than Jason. I think he's scarier than like Jigsaw, Scream, even like Chucky. Like, he's scary. He's scary.
Yeah, he's freaky.
And now that, like, with that second movie coming out, like, of course, you know, the first one didn't really have a lot of plot. I don't feel like they expected it to do as good as they did. But now that there's, like, a whole fandom behind it, oh my God, this is going to be the next. Like, it's going to have 6 movies.
I haven't seen the second movie.
I've only seen, I seen, like, the first 20. I can't remember why I didn't finish it. We watched, like, the first 20, 30 minutes of it illegally. Sorry. Like, whoa.
Whoa.
Potato streaming or something like that. Yeah, no, but we watched part of it. I think we were all just hanging out, and it was kind of just playing in the back.
Yeah.
But I watched the first one, I think 3 times now.
Yeah,
Very
it's
good
a
movie.
good one. It's a very good film. I love
Yeah,
it. It had me dying,
especially-
bro.
Yeah, and
Super funny.
and yeah, when you look at, like, what my 5th was on here, like, nah, I wanted to say Terrifier earlier, and I was like, I don't know if that's, like, even worth saying, and I was like, no, it is, totally it is, because I'm predicting the future here. I'm saying it's gonna go longer. I love the character. Like, I've always wanted another clown since It, but it's hard to do, and they've tried. A lot of people have tried, but they've never really done it in a way. It's like, this character, I want more. You know, we don't know a lot about him. He doesn't die. You know what I mean? He has a lot of things that a lot of these other major horror icons have.
Yeah.
So I think it could really start to blossom and grow, man. So
that.
Screw it. Brad put it all on the table.
All right. Terrifier at 5. No, I'm with you. I love the first film. I think it's a perfect mix of comedy and horror. Like, the comedy doesn't override the horror at all.
Yeah.
It's done so well, man. And like you said, he's almost like realistic in a way. Like,
Yes.
it's like a rant, like it's like a creepy dude you see on the side of a street in a city.
And I don't want to make this comparison because it's a pretty big comparison, but, like, I feel like he has a lot of similarities to, like, Michael Myers.
Whoa! No play.
Whoa! Like, he's got this entity feel. Like, he's definitely, like, not. You can't kill him for some reason, and he doesn't speak. You don't really know. He's just there, and he preys on you. But then, like, where he differs is, like, the comedy part, of course. But I think in the way of, like, as a specimen, it's like you think they're both normal people, but then they don't die. They're faster. They can just teleport almost. You know what I mean? It's weird.
Yeah.
So I feel like I see comparisons there. Not saying he's, of course, the exact same, but
No,
I like that. I like that vibe. You know what I mean? I like that vibe.
I respect that.
Yeah.
No, he's definitely just, there's something to him. Like you said, he is like Michael Myers in the sense of he's not human, but he's not super, but he's a little bit supernatural as well. Like there's something to him. There's a mystique to him, and hopefully, unlike the Halloween franchise, they don't really dive too deep into that, and they keep that mystique to him. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Which makes him scary. So
and they
we'll
do
see.
just enough so where you know who the character is eventually, but they never, like, overdid it. You know what I mean?
I like that. I like it a lot.
And that's where, like, and it's, I'm gonna say this one. It might be on your top 5, but I'm just gonna compare it while we're on topic. Friday the 13th. That's why it's not on my top 5 compared to something maybe like Halloween, because I feel like they almost, and it's not even a bad way. I love Friday. Like, growing up on Friday, it was amazing. But I do like that whole, like, I wish we knew a little bit less, but I feel like they just when freaking Jason went to space, like, it was like, dude, just stop. Like, come on, man. Like, the first 2 or 3 were great, and then, like, you send Buddy to space, and that's even, like, not even the worst movie, they say. You know what I mean?
No, it's not. It's not my least favorite.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So it's like,
yeah.
I just wish they, I don't know. You You know what I mean? I just feel like Halloween did a little bit, tiny bit better.
Halloween has some bad entries, but I agree. I'm with you. No, I
Yeah.
100% dude. 100%.
What's your number five?
My number five is Friday 13th. It's right there, number five.
There
Look
you
at
go.
that. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a franchise that actually you guys go to my YouTube. It's Logan, and I rank the entire franchise all the way through from my least favorite to favorite. And yeah, there's a couple franchises on here in my top five that have really good movies and really bad movies, and this is one of them. I mean, dude, you look at like the best of the best when it comes to Friday the 13th. My favorite of all time is the remake. Beautiful film. I think one of the most overhated films of all time.
I
It is
totally agree.
a beautiful movie.
One of the best horror remakes.
It's my favorite horror remake. It is. Oh, it's top two. It's up there. It's up there.
No.
Yeah, it might be number one. I don't know. But it is a beautiful film. It is the most underrated and overhated movie of all time for me. Period. I don't. There's no cons. The cons that people give this movie are cons you can give to any other Friday the 13th movie, and I've never understood it at all. It just makes zero sense. It's like, oh, okay, then what about this? What about, chapter 4? What about part 3? Like, you get into that a little bit, and then they're like, oh, well, it's different. No, it's not. It's the same thing. So I can't stand that, but
it's newer.
It's newer. Yeah, stop. And this is a franchise that has, like I said, a lot of highs. I mean, chapter 4, part 2, part 3. There's so many good moments in it, man.
The different versions of him too.
Yeah, and even the bad movies. I mean, my least favorite movie is probably forgot what I put at the bottom. Jason Goes to Hell is probably down at the bottom.
That's what it is for me.
Yeah,
I cannot stand that in movie, dude.
Yeah, that's a bad one. But you go above that, and they're watchable. I could sit down and watch Jason X because of the cool kills in space.
Takes, like, you've now taken like him being like that abnormal, like paranormal being, and then you just fucking to put the devil in the goddamn movie practically.
Yeah,
and it's
no,
like,
no, it's bad. That whole thing.
It's
not even Jason. It's these he's jumping from body to body. It's bad.
That's why SpaceX. I said SpaceX.
SpaceX.
That's why Jason X is at least a little bit better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it still feels just like a future, like a really like futuristic Jason.
Oh, Jason Goes to Manhattan. Like there's a couple that
Jason Goes to Manhattan.
Yeah, there's a couple that aren't great, but at least they're watchable. And I respect that a lot because there's only so much you can do with the Jason character. You know what I mean? I mean, really, this franchise, like a lot of franchises, is really only supposed to have 4 movies. And I thought Chapter 4 was a great way to end it off, even though I think it's a little overrated. People say it's the best Friday the 13th. I don't really agree. It's a really good movie, though. It's definitely up there. But they're supposed to end it there, and they're like, oh, we want more money. Then they got Chapter 5, A New Beginning, which it's not even Jason, but I like it. I actually kind of like that movie a lot, actually, New Beginning, where it's Roy Burns. I actually really like that film, which I know is a pretty controversial take, but I do. So there's some really good, nice little films in this franchise that I can sit back and really enjoy, and like I said, unless it's freaking Jason Goes to Hell, I can really sit here and enjoy these films for what they are.
No, I 100% agree.
And by the way, I'm really excited for the new TV show, Crystal Lake. I'm really hyped.
Yeah,
Can be dope. I would like a movie. I would like a movie, but it's okay. It's what it is. Yeah, it's my number 5. Brayden, let's hear number 4.
Don't hate me, but it is Halloween, man. Now, number 4 is Halloween.
It's in your top 5. It's in your top 5. I respect it.
And I don't know if this one's going to be on your list, but this was my original 5. I don't want to talk about it yet. I want to wait. I want to see if you have it.
Yeah.
Because then we can talk about it.
Right.
I'll bring it up after as like an honorable mention because it was my top 5, but then I got real bothered with that Terrifier pick.
Okay.
Halloween, man. Halloween, if I was not making like a biased, opinionated list right now, Halloween is the best horror franchise of all time. It's not really even questionable. I feel like if you surveyed the entirety of the United States, everyone's going to probably... maybe I'm speaking really big here for Halloween, but I really feel like most people would agree. It's just the classic. You know what I mean? When everyone thinks of horror, they think of Michael Myers, Halloween. You know what I mean? Yep. Freddy's there. You know what I mean? Freddy's really big. You know, Wes Craven did a really good job with his realm with Freddy and Scream. But I just, John Carpenter, man. Dude, it's Halloween. It's like it's been on for so long. I feel like it's probably got the best receptions out of the entire franchise. Is like people don't sit there how we just were with like Jason. We're like, why did they do that? You know what I mean? Even with the remakes, they don't feel like remakes. It's a continuation of the story. It never. Well, hey, well, I'm being nice here. I'm being nice here. But
So wait, before you keep going, I have to disagree. There are some really really bad Halloween movies in my opinion.
no, yeah, that's why I was like, yeah, no, I thought like H2O and stuff, and I was like, well,
You got to
okay.
think about Resurrection, Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. You can go to Halloween
Yo, it's
6,
not
Halloween
even like
5.
where he doesn't even look like
Half as Matt.
Michael
He looks like
Myers.
just like a random homeless guy.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I don't know. I just
But
like,
but there's a lot of good, is what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
yeah, I
Yeah.
just feel like when you look at the franchise, it's just it. I don't know why. For me in my like life, I've always like like as you see, it's my number four. It's never even been my favorite. I personally almost like Friday the 13th better than Halloween. But
Mhm.
like for me, like it's kind of like how I wanted Ryan Garcia to win, but Tank won. Like you cannot undoubtedly say Halloween is the GOAT, even though sometimes I don't want to admit it.
Yeah.
My personally, I don't know if it's a GOAT. I just feel like in my realm of knowledge of horror, I feel like it's a GOAT.
Mhm.
Maybe that or like Scream or something. Like
Right.
maybe Elm Street, but I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'm
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah, Halloween it's on my list, so I don't want to dive in too deep onto it. But I do love it to death, and like you said, there are a lot of good. I think Halloween 1978. It's my second favorite movie of all time.
Mhm.
It's my favorite horror movie of all time. It's probably the best horror movie of all time. A lot of people definitely put it up there. It's perfect. There's no cons. It aged a little bit bad. There are some things you watch, you're like, but overall, it's beautiful. It's what launched slashers. It's
Yeah,
what
bro.
really brought horror back to where it needs to be.
Your boy was sitting here like I'm thinking about it now. I was just like, I'm sucking out the franchise, and I'm like, yeah, there's quite a few bad movies.
There's some bad ones. No, well, because
There's
it's
quite a
it's
few.
so easy to forget about them because you have Halloween
Such
1,
good
2,
ones,
and
and I think
4,
that's
and
why
3.
they are like people say they are so bad because it's like that movie, like Halloween one, is so fucking good, dude. It is so good, and like you said, it's like it's the grandfather. It started all of it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like people weren't making films like that. Like maybe
No.
Psycho, but Psycho didn't.
Psycho was also 10 years earlier, or God,
Yeah,
18 years earlier. I think it came out 1960.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like it just wasn't.
It
It
wasn't it.
didn't
It
really lead
wasn't
to
the
anything
start of the slide.
crazy,
It was just
right?
another serial killer.
And then you had Texas Chainsaw, I believe, in 1974, 1972. But like that was a big, but it wasn't like crazy. Like Halloween, like you said, is what really brought it to the forefront.
Yeah. So I just feel like it's the granddaddy of horror.
It
I
is.
think it is. I think it
When you
is.
hear
It's the
everybody
poppy
knows
horror.
what it
There's
is.
no other horror theme in history that
Yeah,
is iconic like
you
that.
see
You know what I
that
mean?
maybe Jaws, but I feel like Halloween's up top. And
But
you
yeah.
see that mask, and you're like, that's Michael Myers. You know what it
Mhm.
is. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's what I like about it. But I'm with you, bro. Yeah, Halloween's a phenomenal franchise, dude, and the first 4 movies are really, really, really good. I mean,
Yeah.
really good. Yeah, I'm with you on that, bro. Like I said, I'm gonna dive into it a little bit later. My number 4 for me is Scream. I think Scream is
Okay.
probably the most consistent horror franchise out there.
Yeah. I started thinking about that again. I'm
Yeah,
like, what are they at? 5 films now? We saw the
yeah,
fifth.
6. We saw 6.
Six. It was six. Okay. Out of the sixth, yeah. I sat there and I thought about it. I'm like, when you were telling me about like the first two, and then the third, kind of like only the reason it didn't go the way. Like it just seemed like it would have been like the golden boy of horror. You know what I mean?
What do you mean?
The term golden boy, like kind of like just like the prodigy child. Like it
Right,
would have been like
right,
like
right.
I if it I'm not saying it's not, but if it would have gone, I feel like on that trajectory that we had talked about that one day at Universal, when you were kind of telling me like how they were supposed to go with
Oh,
the
how it's
third
supposed to
film.
go with Matthew Lillard coming back, and then kind of.
Yeah.
I agree. That
I
would have
think that
been.
would have probably made it probably the best horror franchise of all time.
Oh, 100%. For everybody that doesn't know,
It would
basically,
have been like an Evil Dead, like super consistent.
yes.
It still is.
And basically, for everybody, I'm just gonna give a small summary on this. You can look it up yourself, more in depth. But basically, Stu was supposed to be alive, and Matthew Lillard was ready to come back for Scream 3, and he was gonna be orchestrating all these attacks from jail and like this group of high school kids. And high school kids are gonna be the ones killing, whatever, kind of like Scream. But basically, Matthew Lillard was gonna be orchestrating it, and it was gonna be kind of revealed. And I believe it was going to be a final Sydney and Stu battle or whatever. But it never came to be because Columbine happened and teenagers killing each other. It was kind of weird. which is why they got Roman in Scream 3, who was like, was he 20 something or 30 something? So it just didn't really work out. So they had to switch the entire script around last second, which is why the movie kind of felt weird. But even with Scream 3, like Scream 3 is probably the worst movie in the franchise easily. I ranked all the Scream movies, and I think I put 3 at the bottom. I might have put 2021 Scream or 2022 Scream down there, but was not a fan of that one at all. But
5?
5 might have been at the bottom for me. But it was either 5 or 3. But even those movies are still really enjoyable. You can put on those films and really enjoy them. And the first Scream is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. It once again changed horror, just like Halloween did, in the sense of slashers were in a really bad place. Nightmare on Elm Street had Freddy's Dead. Friday the 13th had Jason Goes to Hell.
Jason at this point, brother.
Yeah, it was bad. Horror was in a really bad place, and they didn't know where they were going with it. Halloween had Halloween 6, and it was really bad. And Scream brought it back, and Scream brought this whole new thing of, I Know What You Did Last Summer, The Faculty, the remake craze that came back in because of the meta stuff. You know what I mean? You brought, which I know you love. It
love
created,
the meta. That's why I love Scream, man.
Stuff, which really, New Nightmare was the first really meta movie. It's the Nightmare on Elm Street movie, New Nightmare, which is one of my favorites.
Bro.
What?
He's just meta. I like him a lot because of how meta he is.
One of the greatest horror minds of all time with John Carpenter. I mean, what he did was incredible. New Nightmare, I think, is one of the most underrated horror movies of all time. Once again, it's a film that I think it only has 2 kills in the entire movie, I think, which is definitely crappy. It definitely, we needed a little bit more than that. So because that, it kind of feels a little underwhelming, but the story is what drives that film, and it is beautiful. So yeah, anyways, my point though is that Scream finally kind of brought us to the forefront and created this, what horror is today, and the big remake craze that we're still experiencing today. So just a beautiful film overall with and just a beautiful franchise. Like I said, there's really high highs and then just good movies. So
yeah,
you love to see it.
No, man, I totally get that.
Yes, sir.
My number 3, you're like, really? But dude, it's probably like the one horror franchise I really truly like consistently grew up with, I guess. Okay. Weird enough, it's Saw. Love Saw, dude. I am a huge Saw guy. And a lot of people don't like it because they think it's like too gory over like horror. But like in a weird way, that's kind of my horror. Like I don't like this is gonna, controversial take. I don't like cliche slashers as much as I do like the paranormal stuff or like the gore. Like that's why I think I like Evil Dead a lot. Because like it is a slasher, but it brought that paranormal vibe.
Yeah.
And whereas Saw, it's like this whole movie franchise is like you're a puppet in this guy's game. Like it's just one giant chessboard and you're just one of his pawns. And these guys are constantly like, it's funny because you see it from the perspective of them, but they could have always made a movie from Jigsaw's perspective. And I think it would have just been just as good. You never get to see, like, you get to see his backstory and why he's doing all this, but like, we never got to see him as the main character conducting his things. Like, even though these movies are revolved around him and his game, it's constantly a different new protagonist that tries their luck at escaping his game, and it fail. It fail every time.
So you know what's interesting about the Saw movies? I don't think I haven't seen them all.
I love the girl. They have her. She's like the pig. If you like when Dead by Daylight, that's what she's the pigskin. Yeah. She was in like I don't want to say it was the first. It was the first or second. And then she comes back and you find out. Yeah, I thought it was the second.
I think it was second.
And she comes back and she's a new like Jigsaw kind of.
Yeah, I haven't seen all the Saw movies. But from what I've seen, I really enjoy them. That's one franchise I need to get to. It's on my list of franchises I need to watch when it comes to horror. Because I haven't seen like 3 movies.
The traps are so unique, bro.
Really unique, and there's not a lot of reoccurring ones. And the one thing that here's a really interesting take. I actually wasn't a fan of the lore once they kind of started explaining who Jigsaw was and what was going on with that. I like the mystique of just these guys. You can go even was the third Saw movie when it's a big group of people, or is that the second?
Oh, dude, where she gets pushed in the needle pit and stuff. Are you talking about that? It's
yes,
like 2 girls and like 3 guys or something like that. I want to say that's
is third, right?
Because the needle girl, the one that gets pushed in the needle pit, she ends up being the pig.
Sure. Was that second?
She's
the
one in the game. I think it's the second.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite Saw movie.
I agree,
and it was so good, bro.
So good.
But
because the first one, this is something a lot of people don't know. First one was a extreme low budget feature film. It had $45,000 budget. And when I found this out, I was like, what the hell? But when you think about it, Saw 1, they stayed in one room with two guys, the only two actors, and they're chained up the whole time. They don't do anything. So you could honestly just write them out, maybe $10K each.
Yep.
Probably didn't take long to film. They had one location.
Yep.
They had to pay for one location, two actors. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was like, it's crazy how, and that's why I have so much
creepy.
hope with like when I talk to me and Logan, we talking about writing scripts. And I'm like, yo, they can do it. And like now, like freaking Chris Rock wrote his own movie about it. You know what I mean?
So that's something I want to get to too. But yeah,
that's
no,
film.
It is. But no, it's definitely a franchise I enjoyed. I liked it more when you didn't know anything and it was just random people thrown into this game. It felt more just weird. I don't know. It's creepy because it could happen to you.
Because when you feel like, I just don't, because eventually you find out with him having cancer and stuff, like it just makes him so vulnerable. And I don't like that. I like the idea of seeing him, like, I don't know if there's a scene where he's at a book signing and people don't know it's him. Like, you know what I mean? He's just at a book signing. They don't know it's Jigsaw.
Yeah.
And I think that's super cool because like it is still like you are finding more out about him, but like it's almost in the way of like you're seeing how big his game really is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's more worldwide than it is just what we're seeing on screen.
Right. Yeah, so. No, 100%. I definitely liked it when it was more kind of grounded, which I know you hear me talk about a lot. But no, a really fun franchise. I need to get back to it and rewatch all the films. I did watch Spiral when I was filming season 2 of Sweet Magnolias, I think. I think I was filming season 2 of Sweet Mags. I actually enjoyed it. People hate that movie. I know I'm in the very small, really. Yeah. I'm in the very small minority. It's not it's really not a Saw movie.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
It's more of Chris Rock's character. It's almost a plot twist movie. I'm not going to say what the plot twist is, but it's not a Saw movie. It's basically Chris Rock is like this detective. These murders are going on, and it's basically he's trying to put this puzzle together.
Yeah,
not a Saw movie at all, but it's awesome. And these people getting these traps and stuff. Like there are traps.
That's what I've seen. I
people got their fingers ripped off.
About Saw the most is the traps. Because some of them, it's extremely obvious on how to get out if the team work together. And there's certain situations where people were put in the room by themselves to die. And you just, literally,
you don't know what to do.
You're granted luck. And then I've seen some people, and I've literally looked at the traps and people analysis on YouTube, like just whoever. And they're like, they've come, like there's this one trap and I can't remember which one it was, but they deem it pretty much impossible. Like you would not be able to get out within the time frame that they give you, and you can't get out. So it's like that's really intriguing to me that you it's almost like you pick people,
Yeah, it's messed up because then you put yourself in that position. That's what I love about it. You know what I mean? You're almost
like,
there with
the
character.
One with the really fucked trap?
Yeah,
or would I be with the rest of the group.
And even if you're the really bad trap, how would you get out of it? You know what I mean? You kind of play mind games with yourself of, oh, maybe I'll do this, I'll do that. I'm with you. It's such a fun franchise because you can easily put yourself in that position. Yeah, I love it. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you 100%. But yeah, just a really fun. Definitely watch Spiral. Just be ready for not a Saw movie. It's not a Saw movie.
I've seen that.
Chris Rock's did a really good job.
You know what I'm talking about? There's like a sand scene or something. No, maybe not sand. It might be like chicken feet or something.
Yes.
Something like that.
Yes.
Right?
I think
I've seen that. There's like 3 of them in there.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah. There's the guy gets his fingers ripped off slowly. You literally see his finger get ripped off his hand. It's crazy, dog. It's so much fun. But no, there's some good stuff on there, bro. Definitely watch it. Let me know what you think. But yeah, Saw. I like that. You said that's number 3?
That's my number 3. What's your number 3, Logan? What's your number 3?
Jaws. No, I'm joking. Nightmare on Elm Street is my number 3.
Bro, if you would have, I would have just been like, nah.
What do you like about it? Jaws 1. That's it.
Jaws 1.
Yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street, dude. This is such a beautiful franchise. I love it. I actually watched it probably. I watched it a little bit growing up. Didn't watch the whole franchise. And then I think 2019 is when I finally watched the whole franchise, and I fell in love with it. It's a beautiful, beautiful franchise. This is what I like about Nightmare, that this is something you really can't do with Friday or Halloween, is you almost can't take it seriously. So you enjoy a lot more movies and a lot more entries. I love the first 3. I think the first 3 movies are incredible. Nightmare 1, Nightmare 2, and then Dream Warriors. I mean, they're incredible. 4, 5, and 6 are really hard to get through because that's when people call it MTV Freddy because the 80s. And, Freddy Krueger started kind of becoming this slapstick guy, and
come here, bitch.
Not even that. Like he just
Dude,
became
that's my
so
favorite
stupid.
line. That is my favorite horror line ever.
What is that? Is that from the 5th movie? It might be from the 5th. But and there's good moments in those movies. I mean, in the Dream Child and everything. The motorcycle scene where the guy starts to become the motorcycle. The skull. The cockroach scene is really weird, but it's kind of cool at the same time. Like she starts to become the grasshopper or the cockroach or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I've seen the one that has always stuck out to me. I remember this scene so vividly. I don't know why. Where he took the ear thing. I can't think of what they're called first. Like you use it for earwax.
Oh, cotton swab.
Yeah, he put like a cotton swab in the dude's ear and was like twisting it and it kept going farther.
Yeah.
I can't remember which film it's from, but that's like that one scene that vividly I remember from like a Friday movie.
Nightmare. Yeah.
I mean, that's what I said. That's what I said, bro.
Yeah, in Nightmare. There's that one. The one where he's like eating something. Is he eating off the plate? There's like the dinner scene. He's eating something off the plate. I can't remember if it was like his eyeballs or if it was like people. I forgot what it was, but it was weird, dude. And there's some really good dream sequences in those films, but they're so slapstick. It's like,
especially births himself out of the body.
Dude, especially Freddy's Dead. Freddy's Dead, I think, is one of the most unwatchable horror movies for me. I cannot watch that film. It's just like It's full on MTV Freddy. There's some funny moments in it, but Freddy's Dead, which Johnny Depp, was Johnny Depp in it? Johnny Depp might have had like a cameo, I think. I think he had a cameo in it. I might be totally wrong on it, but I think he had a little cameo in it. I've only seen Freddy's Dead once. I haven't seen it again. And yeah, it's not a film that I can get into. But then you have New Nightmare after that, which is one of my favorite.
What do you think is the biggest thing? I know you keep saying like MTV Freddy, but like what about it is like the bad, like the worst things to you think? I've never seen it, so I don't know.
What do you mean?
Like, what does MTV Freddy mean?
Like over
There's more
the
like
top.
Funny?
Yeah,
okay. Just extra.
If you watch if you watch MTV in the 80s, that's what it was. It was extra crazy, wild, like
MTV
funny,
Cribs.
Like, yeah, it was. Yeah, that kind of thing. Like that's what Freddy was. Like it was MTV Freddy, which it was very weird, and it's what they were going for. There was no seriousness to the character. That's why I like the first 3 the most.
Freddy's coming for you.
Like, they're serious. Like, it's this guy that kills kids in their dreams. This is a serious thing, bro. It's weird.
Yeah.
And then they had a lot of comedy in the 3rd movie, which is why I don't like it as much as a lot of people. But at least they had some serious factors in it. After that, it just gets full on comedy, and you're like, what is this? But then you have New Nightmare. New Nightmare, like I said, is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. It's super underrated, I think, and was the first meta movie that Wes Craven did, and it was beautiful. Super underrated. It was Scream before Scream, basically. Have you seen that movie yet?
Which one?
New Nightmare.
Is that the CGI one?
No, that's the remake. New Nightmare is the you need to watch it. It's so basically all the characters from the OG movie come back. But they play themselves. They play the actors of themselves. And then Freddy Krueger, this demon entity. It's not really Freddy. It's more of a demon entity version of Freddy.
They play, like, if their character was, like, let's just say...
let's say Heather Langenkamp, the girl from the original movie. She plays Heather Langenkamp herself. Dude, it's so meta. So it's like me. You know what I mean? It's Sweet Magnolia show, but I play me. It's like that.
Okay.
So like you were literally in the life of Heather Langenkamp and Robert Englund and John Saxton, right? Like the guy, the cop from the original one.
So is Robert Englund like fully killing like 100% way through?
It's kind of confusing. You have to watch it.
Okay.
You have to. Okay. I don't want to spoil it. It's really weird. You'll see.
But are there moments where they like are all like stop and they like talk to each other and stuff?
Yes, this was so cool. They call each other, dude. It's so dope because they're like. Like even Wes Craven's in it. He plays himself in it as well. So
Yo,
dude, it's Heather Langenkamp goes over to Wes Craven's house and they try to figure this thing out itself. It's so cool. It is dope.
really?
The
That
one
sounds
bad thing,
fire.
it's really good. You're making me want to watch it again. The one bad thing, like I said, is there's only 2 kills in the entire movie, and the other bad thing is oh my god, you think the kid in Evil Dead Rise was bad? The kid in this movie is so annoying. It's Heather Langenkamp's kid. Can't stand him. I mean, he is just. He's
Goddamn annoying.
no. Every time he comes on screen, no, he's like actually super annoying. So that's my only cons with the movie. I wish it had more. If it had more kills, it would be probably my favorite Nightmare movie. But it's really solid. And then after that, you had Freddy versus Jason, and then I think right, yeah, Freddy versus Jason, and then you had the remake, which I actually like the remake a lot more than most people.
I like the remake.
I
That was
actually
pretty
really
good.
like the remake. It's my everybody has a guilty pleasure movie. That's my guilty pleasure
I
movie.
don't even
So
think he looks like super bad. Like I understand. Like I think practical effects is a little bit better,
yeah,
but I don't think it looks terrible.
I don't think it looks terrible either. I'll sit beside that. I will stand beside it. The CGI isn't great throughout the movie, but it's watchable. And there's good concepts like the micro sleep and all that. Like the acting solid. Like the writing's really not good in that movie. And the directing's good, but it's not nothing standoutish. But the writing is not good, but I still love it. The dialogue is
Yeah.
horrible, but I still love it. It's one of those movies that I know it's bad. I get it, but I love it. You know what I
Get
mean?
it, bro.
I get it, because you know why? It brought the
get it.
serious Freddy back. That's what it is. It was a serious Freddy Krueger, and that's what I liked.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. All right, Brayden. Let's hear what you number 2 now.
Number
Top
2.
2, bro. This is where it gets serious. Come
All
on,
right,
man.
man. This is where people are gonna be like, "Wow, Brad, really? Of all time? Are you
What are you
serious?"
doing?
I
Yeah,
don't
bro.
care. My top 2. None of you probably. I mean, maybe some of you had picked. I don't care. My number 2 is the Insidious franchise. Insidious was the start of a new generation of really good paranormal activity. Whereas I think paranormal activity is a fantastic. We talked about this. Fantastic. Franchise. And a lot of people don't like a lot of the movies, and I understand, and I agree. Like there's you and me talked about. There's like a good. Did you say like the 6 maybe that they made? Is it 6?
Something crazy like that, dude. I've only seen the
Yeah.
first 2 Paranormal Activities, and then the Next of Kin, which I think is a very underrated movie.
I don't think I've seen that one. I don't think, and that's.
You need to watch it.
I don't think I have. I think.
So scary, bro. I mean, it's freaky.
Yeah.
Watch it.
I just love those movies, and I
Yeah.
just think Insidious did a little bit better. I think Patrick Wilson was they have a consistent cast for the first few, and that's what I liked. And we've talked about this with the Red Chapter. I didn't watch 3 or 4, and I know that's like you're Brad. You can't think it's your number 2. You don't watch 3 and 4, but I'm taking the movies for what it was. Like you know what I mean. I could go watching 3 and 4, and I will obviously for this 5th movie.
Yeah.
But even with this 5th movie that I'm so excited for, that the 3 and 4 have nothing to do with this franchise. They're almost kind of like.
Well, and
No.
like we talked about, a franchise can still be 1 and 2 movies. I mean, like, or 2 movies.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like,
exactly.
who cares?
And even like with Evil Dead, they're branching their own thing off.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they're just returning back to the original story. But dude, Insidious, when I first saw that movie, like changed my life. Like made me this is a franchise that made horror my favorite genre. I don't know why. Like there's a lot of like the music's amazing. I think the cinematography is so underrated. I think it has sent like the shots in this movie are so different from most horror movies that you'll see, let alone paranormal movies.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because it has this found footage, it doesn't have the found footage actual like carry of it, but it has the feel of some found footage.
Yeah.
It has the feel of found footage. So
But it one thing. So I like how you said it did what Paranormal Activity did, but took it to the next level. Because they add substance to the story, and it was actually a well.
Exactly.
Like it's not just there's a ghost haunting the house, which works,
Yeah.
and it works for Paranormal Activity. But which, by the way, the first Paranormal Activity is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. It's
good.
probably one of the scariest movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
But what I like about Insidious more is the fact that it does have substance to it. It's a real story. There's characters you actually care about. Not that you don't care about the characters in Paranormal Activity, but
They
they
change.
have more substance here. You know what I mean? And like you
Yeah.
said, there's actual character development going on. There's a story here that we're trying to unravel.
Yep.
So I'm with you, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because we touched on so many other more. I'll let it speak for itself. Insidious is a phenomenal series, and I just think the first 2 films, like they're in a one night thing, like literally where the first film ends, the second one picks up. literally.
Yeah, yeah,
Like it's the same
yep,
scene.
yep.
So I just think it's like such a great two-part installment. And like I said, I think it started that whole generation for like Annabelle to come and like The Conjuring and like kind
Conjuring.
of just set up those movies up to be more confident, I feel like, in themselves because
Yeah,
Paranormal Activity almost ruined it. And like the first few started it, and then as it went on, they were like, ugh, these
yeah,
movies are kind of shit. People didn't
yeah,
like the paranormal vibes of movies anymore. And then Sidious came out and completely flipped it back on its ass
yeah,
and was like, no, we are fire. Bum,
yep.
bum, bum, bum.
Yes, sir. No,
Yeah,
it's good
man.
stuff. I'm with you. And also one of the most iconic jump scares of all time in the first one. You just can't beat it. That music.
Dude.
Oh my god, dude. James Wan, I love
No.
you. I love you. James Wan's one of the best just horror guys of all time. I mean,
Bro,
he is
oh my
unreal.
God. And the actual, yeah, let alone from the soundtrack, like the actual composing. Oh my God.
Scary.
Probably has the best eerie music,
It's really
dude, for
good.
me.
It's really,
I
really
love the
solid.
music in that. Yeah.
I'll give it to you, dude. Good stuff. No, I need to get a 3 and 4, and I'm excited for the 5th movie just because of Patrick Wilson, bro. Which kind of
Dude, love
goes
that guy.
into my second too, which is The Conjuring. I got number 2.
Yeah, man.
I love The Conjuring. It's dude,
Well, this is
bro.
actually funny because I'm going next, and my number one is The Conjuring.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So we can talk about it together. The Conjuring's beautiful, dude. And by the way,
The best.
by the Conjuring, I mean just the first, like the
One,
Conjuring
two.
movies. 1, 2. We can talk about the third one too. One, 2, 3. We'll bring it in. I guess we can invite it. You know,
We'll pass
whatever.
three, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, man. It's like a family reunion. That one person you have to invite. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they're
yeah,
part of the
yeah.
family. Like it's like you feel bad if you don't.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, dude. So, The Conjuring, and I don't. And this is not including the Nun and all the spin-off ones they've done. We're just talking about the Conjuring movies.
I mean, even if you could even with the whole, if you want to go
If you wanted
franchise
to,
aspect, they have a great. You could even because Annabelle's technically related in their
yeah.
universe. You
Annabelle
know what I
is
mean?
the Nun. That one
La
weird.
Llorona,
Yeah, that
the
too.
curse of La Llorona.
Yeah. There's a couple in there. I haven't seen some of those though. I've only seen the first Annabelle, and I haven't even seen the Nun yet. So I don't know if I need
I've
to.
seen I've seen the Nun. I've seen the two Annabelles in the prequel,
Yep.
and then I've seen the first two Conjurings. I just haven't seen La Llorona
You haven't seen
and
Third
three.
Conjuring?
Nope. After, dude, I'm
This would
not gonna
be
lie to you. It is my
interesting.
favorite franchise, and when I heard everyone talk about it, I just didn't want to ruin it.
Yeah, yeah. Trust
I
me.
did not
You
want
know,
to ruin it for myself.
it's yeah. We'll get to that. But no, The Conjuring, bro. This is the first Conjuring movie. I think is one of the best constructed horror movies of all time.
It
Like
might be my
best
favorite horror
movies.
movie of all time.
And people listen, when it comes to horror movies, they're usually not the best made. And usually
Mm.
when I rank my favorite
But
horror
this
movies, you'll see a
movie,
lot of entertainment, right? It's more of like,
Mhm.
oh, I really had fun with this movie. This movie, like you said, the first
could have
Conjuring,
gone for an Oscar. Like realistically,
100%. And I've seen, when it comes to I Love
the fact that
Paranormal,
Get Out got nominated one year, and like or the year it got nominated or whatever it got nominated for that year, and you're not going to nominate The Conjuring.
20, yeah, because Conjuring was 2013, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Yes.
I mean, I don't know what was going on in 2013, but this had
Dude,
this
such a
needed
good
something.
film.
I mean,
Such a good film.
the acting, the dialogue was beautiful. The
Yeah.
writing, the character development, the fact that you
picked it.
cared for this this family. Like it did what Evil Dead Rise didn't really do, which Evil Dead Rise wasn't really going for this type of movie. But I'm just saying, like, you cared for all those kids. You cared for the mom. You cared for the dad. You cared for
You cared for both
Ed and Lorraine
families,
Warren. Yeah,
Exactly.
you cared for all of
for the
them.
Warrens and for the actual family. And that's what's
Yes.
super cool about it.
And that went on into the second movie too. You cared for their family and Ed and Lorraine. Like, and Ed and Lorraine, it became this like one of some of the best, probably the best horror couple I think out there for sure. Like they're so likable, man. And what
It's real. Like I'm not
very
saying like
real.
these are all 100% true of whatever happened. Like Ed and Lorraine are real people. They are ghost hunters. They've had these movies are based off the experiences they've gone through, regardless of everything happening to them. I just think that makes it so much more interesting too.
Yeah. No, I know you. When you get done watching that movie by yourself at like 2 a.m., bro, it's so scary.
You're, like,
And
looking
then it
around
says,
the room, like,
and then you see the real pictures pop up in the credits, and you're like,
yo,
why?
yo,
You know what I
who's
mean?
you?
Yeah, I know.
Yo,
You start
Ghost
looking
Orb?
around, bro. You turn the
Some
lights a little.
Ghost
Use your
Orbs?
phone flashlight. Ghost orbs.
Ghost
Stoplight. But no, dude, creepy stuff, man.
It's a
One of the
mimic.
most, dude. One of the most. It's a mimic. Dude, one of the like most scary things of all time, dude. Was it Bathsheba, right? Bro, it's so scary, man. And just a really well done movie. And the second movie too, not as good as the first, but a
Yeah,
really well
dude.
done movie. And
But I
why
only
they
feel like it's like
didn't
a point or two under. You know what I mean? I feel like it's not like one of those where you're like oh the sequel shit. Like you know what I mean? Like it's like one of those like it's just the movie. The first one's so good, it's so hard to top it. But I feel like it
Conjure
was a perfect segue.
right, Conjuring 2 is a great movie, and it's not. I don't want to say it's not far. There's a big gap for me, but it's not in a bad
Really,
way. Like the
really,
first Conjuring for me is like a 9.9, and then Conjuring 2 maybe like an 8.8, which it
really.
seems close, but there's a big gap there for me. Like
Hmm.
this, the first one, dude. It's so well
So good.
constructed. It's so good. It's so
It's
freaking
so
good, bro.
good.
It's
I
so good,
can't
bro.
even argue with you because it's so good, dude.
It's really solid. And the Conjuring 2, I love what they did there. They brought in a new aspect of things. You know what I mean? The kid getting, possessed and them talking through the kid. Really like that stuff too, man. And it was still a very, very scary movie. Then you get into the Conjuring 3.
Yeah,
I saw this in theater when we were doing season 2 of Sweet Magnolias. And I was not happy at all walking out of there. Number one, there's nobody in the theater, which is kind of cool. It was just me and my dad. Literally, that was it. We were like on one afternoon, we're like, hey, let's go watch The Conjuring 3. We did, and it was creepy because we were by ourselves. But like the movie, they took the fact that we love Ed and Lorraine and made them the forefront of the movie and focused on their relationship, which I don't mind.
because I know they do have like the whole trial thing and stuff.
Yes, but The Conjuring 3 took a really cool concept. It's not a bad movie, but it's
It's just
not
different.
good. It's different. And it's
Hmm.
different from what they should have done. And it almost is Hollywood, if that makes sense. So they basically take all the crazy possessions in the first two Conjuring movies and give it like a $50 million budget on top of it. And they like it
Hmm.
starts floating like it felt like I was watching like a blockbuster, if that makes sense. And I feel like what makes the Conjuring movies so scary is the fact that this could happen to you
It's like the
and the fact
genuineness
that
of it.
this is just a normal family and a normal house. This movie
Yeah.
was almost like it was unreal. I'm not saying that it's realistic, the first two Conjuring movies, but I'm saying you can believe it. The third movie, it's like the way that everything's happening. It's like oh, we made two good, really good Conjuring movies. Let's go even bigger. Let's go even crazier. And that's what they did.
Instead of giving us another like story to chase. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right. And instead of focusing on the characters that are being possessed and are connected to the possessed or the possessed guy, whatever, that's the killer. Um, they focused on Ed and Lorraine more.
Well, yeah,
And,
I didn't mean to cut you off.
another
I just
thing.
thought about
Okay,
something.
good.
No, no, you finished. You finished real quick. I'll
The
remember
court
it.
stuff. Why not? That could have been more of a like bring more of that in. We barely
Yeah,
saw that. That was barely in the movie. And from
yeah,
what I remember, at least, I haven't seen the movie since I watched it in theater because I didn't really care for it. But I
yeah.
remember telling myself, why not focus on that? I actually really enjoyed the court case stuff. And they just wanted more, let's just more possession. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. It was like, no, bro. Like I'm really interested in the court process, which is a
Yeah.
big deal when it came to this real life story because this really happened. Why? And you're already focused on Ed and Lorraine, so why not give more of that? But they
Yeah.
didn't focus on the court stuff enough, in my opinion, and kept focusing on the possession aspect of it, which I wasn't too big on.
Well, and you made a comment earlier that like it's really actually relevant when you see it play out. Like the nun. The nun was such a beloved character. Like the nun was so scary and people were so intrigued by it, they made a fucking movie about it. And you know what happened when they made the nun? Nobody liked nobody liked the movie like that.
No,
Like I watched it and it's not a bad movie. But when you watch The Conjuring, you watch The Nun, like there's two worlds apart. Even when you watch Conjuring 2 and The Nun, it's worlds apart. And that's because you don't know when you let them live in their world. And this is something as actors, I feel like this is what we do. You are living in this world of the character. You know what I mean? We don't need to push them at the forefront because while we watch them live in their life as we do as humans, we all grow. Every day we grow as humans. We learn something new, we grow. We can watch them grow and learn and develop without forcing it. You know what I mean? Let it happen naturally over the time of the script. You know what I mean? A good actor will develop the character. Good writing will especially develop the character.
yeah,
You don't need to shove them in the freaking the forefront and like you were saying and kind of just overdo it and take away from the world. We love the world of it. It's like we love the characters too, but now you are pulling us out of this vibe and this dream world that we're in, and you're putting us into like their drama. You know what I mean?
There is such thing as too much of a good thing, and there's some things that, like you said, just need to be left alone, which is why sequels don't work. You know, or some of them do. But a lot of sequels don't work. Why they're crap, or remakes don't work. Right? Sometimes
I think that's why people have so much expectations for the third.
Yeah,
because maybe
100%.
it wasn't as best. Like you said, the first one is such a hard movie to touch. So that's why it's the second movie. It's not a bad movie in any means, but it is so hard to touch the first one.
Yep.
And it's like I think a lot of people expected the same thing with third. Like either it was going to be better than the second or just as good, and it was just a letdown for some people.
Definitely not great. So you need to watch it. I would watch it. Check it out. But the Nun though. Back to the Nun.
Yeah.
I feel like another thing too. When you watch the Nun, it takes away from that scene in The Conjuring, because now you know everything about it. Like, oh, that's where it came from. It's what it did. What made that so scary is the mystique, the mysterious aspect to it. Right?
Who is this lady?
It's like, bro, that was a creepy scene, dude. You see the painting turn into the way that they shot that was so awesome, bro. It was awesome. So, but let's say like. So now if you watch The Nun and you don't like it, it takes away from that scene because you're like, oh, it's The Nun.
And that's something about The Conjuring that I really think they do is like something in real life that we don't realize. People like when you're scared, like they do it a lot in movies. Like people look around. If you hear something but you can't see it, like that's something truly scary for somebody. Knowing something's happening and you can't do anything, you can't because you can't see it. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And what I love about The Conjuring is a lot of their shots, they play into that factor of like you are the camera, like you are looking here. And it's not like they cut. They literally like pull up the camera and turn it to the other side to like almost as if you are turning around and like who's behind me. Like I just think they're so smart, dude. And that is why that franchise is done so well.
Yeah. And like I said, I think that's why those first two movies I think are some of the best horror, like created horror movies. You know what I mean? Best made horror movies we've ever seen when it comes to the technical aspect of things. So yeah, I'm with you 100%, dude. It's a beautiful franchise, and I can see why it's your number one. It's sexy, but for me, dude, it can't beat out my favorite horror franchise, which you already know is Halloween. I grew up with this franchise. The first horror movie I ever watched was Halloween 4. I love it. It's my baby. I love everything about it. That's why being able to talk to James Dew Courtney was such an incredible experience, and getting to interview him. If you guys haven't seen that, go check it out.
Yeah.
I mean, Halloween, I don't even know where to start. Halloween 1 is the best, is like I said, my second favorite movie of all time. It's my favorite horror movie of all time. It's so well done. There's no negative aspect about this film. It's beautifully executed. It was so unique and so different. It impacted horror audiences like we've never seen before. The closest thing to it could possibly be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the OG one. That one had a pretty big impact on the audience as well.
I do want to say that was my original number 5, was Texas Chainsaw.
The reason I didn't put it on there is because I haven't seen enough of them. I've seen the first 2, and I've seen all the new ones.
I'm like very similar. I'm very similar.
So I've seen the remake, the prequel to the remake, and then Texas 3D or whatever. I've seen those.
Yeah. I think we might have seen like the exact same 3.
Probably.
I might have seen 2. But I've seen the same ones as you, I think.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, no, I love Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And it's actually the first one's so wild. And that one is like I said, had a pretty big impact on the audiences because it was like this real life. The way that they try to play the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre is like it wasn't based off a true story, but they tried inside the movie it was, if that makes sense. So it wasn't really based off a true story, but they tried to play it like that, which kind of made it more scary. And audiences didn't know what was going on, dude. They were freaking out. They thought it was based off a real thing. So it had a pretty big impact on it. Halloween was the same thing because, you know, it was just the way it was shot. It was these babysitters, you know what I mean? And the babysitter audience was, they were like, dude, this can happen to me. This can happen to anybody. The POV shots was super, super unique and different. The music was something that they've never heard before. Just the visuals overall were incredible. The kid killing the sister in the opening scene, that was Scream before it was Scream. You know what I mean? That was, you know, the Scream's known for its opening scene, but Halloween did it first with that opening scene, bro.
It did it first.
It did it first, dude. And it's executed so well and surprised so many audiences. And just the characters, man, everything about that first movie is incredible, and that kind of goes to the rest of the franchise. This franchise does have duds. It 100% does. You go to Rob Zombie's Halloween 2, you go to Resurrection, you go to Halloween 5. There's some bad ones in here, for sure. But you also have Halloween 1, 2, and 3, and 4. Halloween, H2O. I actually really like H2O. I don't know if you do or not, but I like H2O. I like the new trilogy they did, except for Halloween Ends.
I can't remember which one is H2O because I think I've seen it.
That's where Jamie Lee Curtis comes back, and she's at the school, and Michael Myers has like the big eyes. He looks like this, looking at people.
Is that the one where they did like a CGI scene in it?
Oh, the CGI mask?
Yes.
Looks like an alien? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, Dude, I've seen it.
People make like the best comparison.
I don't think it's that bad.
What?
H2O.
H2O is good.
The CGI. No, yeah, I think
CGI
that was
is horrible.
kind of. Yeah, I think that was kind of bad.
People make the best comparison with H2O though. And it's my big problem with it is it looks like if Michael Myers walked onto set of like Dawson's Creek. You know what I mean? It's like Scream. If like Halloween was made in the Scream universe, you know what I'm saying? Very clean, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So like that's the vibe that you get from watching Halloween H2O. It's why it's so different. It's a standout. Mm-hmm. But I like the remake. Actually really like Rob Zombie's Halloween. I never liked it growing up, but I watched it recently and I can respect it a little bit more. The second one I'm not a fan of. I liked 2018, loved Kills and Ends.
I really loved Kills.
I think
I've seen 2018 and Kills. Is it all the same night, correct?
Yep. All the same night. And then Ends is the big.
I just never saw
originally,
Ends.
You're not missing much. Originally, no. Listen, I respect Ends for what it was, man. Ends, David Gordon Green is an experimental director. He loves to experiment with things, and he just wanted to make a different type of movie, and it was more of a romance story, and that's what kind of threw me off. But I think he wanted to make it in correlation with the OG trilogy for Halloween, which was Halloween 1, 2, and then the third one was the Season of the Witch, which is like an anthology movie. It has nothing to do with Michael Myers. After the first two movies, John Carpenter was like, hey, we're done. Let's just make this an anthology franchise of a bunch of different stuff. Kind of like Creepshow. And they didn't do it. Did horrible in the box office, and they brought Michael back for Halloween 4. But Season of the Witch is a really good film, and I think that's what they're going to go for in this movie. They wanted to do a different type of movie, and I think that's why they wanted to kind of do that.
And I think that's something that you even said. It's like just because it's the last one. Like if it had not been the last one, I don't think it would have been as much of a problem. But like when you're ending the series on this note, go classic. You know what I mean? That's just all I have to say. You should go classic at that point.
I had a lot of problems with it, but it was still a beautiful film. I mean, David Gordon Green is incredible. James killed it. Jamie Lee Curtis, they all did really, really good job in it. But Halloween Kills is a very underrated movie. I don't understand why people hate it. I freaking love it. And so overall, really, really good franchise. But Halloween 4 is the OG for me. It's the first one I watched, and I had nightmares growing up of the rooftop chase scene. I don't know when the last time you've seen it is, Brayden, but you have Michael chasing Jamie Lloyd up on a roof, dude, and she's like tripping on the, what do you call it? The things on the roof. The little boards up there or whatever. She's tripping.
Scaffolding, but not like scaffolding.
No, I forgot the name of it, but Michael's chasing her. He's slipping a little bit too. It's just like, it's so scary, bro. And oh my God. And you got Rachel. Halloween 4 is great, but just everything about it, the masks, the score, it's just a fun franchise. And unlike Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street, I can watch the bad movies.
I agree.
And sit down and just kind of get through them a little bit. Even though
not just feel like
some
so
bad
like
ones,
like it just doesn't feel, I don't know, and I don't want to be a dick, but like so stupid. You know what I mean? I just don't feel like their bad movies feel as stupid, and that's like, it just feels more like a bad movie than a stupid movie. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I feel that. I feel that 100%. Yeah, there's some crazy ones. There's some crazy ones, but like you said, you can appreciate the badness.
Like,
you know,
it was just at least it was a badness. Like there's certain movies with like even like Friday. I've just sat there and like, why did you even do it? Like, why? Who the fuck was back there and was just like, this is a good idea?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Never felt like that. Tried something different. Yeah. No, yes. I feel it. Yeah.
I understand what they did with the anthology and stuff. Like that makes sense. Right. Honestly, I think that like it's something at this point that would have done better nowadays.
Oh, 100%.
Now that we have the streaming services and
Yes.
mini series are kind of more of a thing.
And speaking about that too, that's like, that's like a big thing I actually kind of want to talk about. I don't know, I might do a YouTube video on it, I'm not sure. Like, where does the Halloween franchise go from here? What I would love to see, dude, I would love to write just a treatment of this too and see. I don't think it'll get picked up, but do like a Dr. Loomis type thing where Dr. Loomis, Dr. Loomis, who's the psychiatrist,
The old guy?
yeah. Like do a series with him, trying to like, dealing with his different patients.
Yeah.
And then at the end of season 1, Michael comes in and he has to deal with Michael. And all of season 2 is Michael. You know what I mean?
And that's it. I was
treating
just about to
Michael.
go there and be like a Michael child. Like we know a little bit, but we don't know enough. And I remember
I listen, I'm
it's
very
something we
passionate about this
spoke on
character.
earlier.
I hate knowing more about Michael Myers, but it's at the point where I just want new content. Like there's not a lot of places
It's
you
at
can
the
go.
point where they've ended it.
Right.
It's
So
okay now because it's over. You know what I mean?
just give us
If they go
something.
and try, they go and try and like revive Jamie Lee Curtis and Michael in another 5 years after they did a series, then it'd be like, what the fuck are you doing?
They're gonna
dude?
be like walking around their cane and stuff, man.
But like now
The
that
wheelchairs.
it's like it's kind of like even like when you look at Stranger Things, like it is almost okay to go and venture off into like the really deep end of things because we've already
Yeah,
we're
who
coming to
cares
the
if
end,
you mess it
man.
up? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I think that's the point. Who cares if you mess
Yeah.
it up, dude?
It's already
Like,
done so well.
and
You're
then
already the goat.
and they're gonna mess it up anyway. Like telling Michael's backstory. I want to be the one to do it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I want to
right,
be able to
yeah.
have control of it. So like that's why I want to have fun with it. So, but no, I would love to have some kind of anthology like that where maybe there's some other stuff going on in Haddonfield, or I don't know. You could just have some fun with it. But that's kind of my view on where the franchise should go there. But no, yeah, man, love Halloween. It's my number one. So there you go, baby. Our top 5 horror franchises. I'm going to kind of read off mine. I'll let Brayden read off his. Mine goes number 5, Friday the 13th. Number 4, Scream. Number 3, Nightmare on Elm Street. Number 2, Conjuring. And number 1, Halloween.
5, we got Terrifier. Then we got Halloween at 4, Saw at 3, Insidious at 2, and The Conjuring at 1.
Yes, sir. Stop playing,
Yes,
baby. Love to see
sir.
it. Love to see it.